it has to occur due to a concentration gradient, right? So the pressure gradient was to allow for the flow of air. Once you have air in the alveoli and blood in the pulmonary capillaries, we now know that we need gas exchange to occur, right? And gas exchange is where in pulmonary capillaries, oxygen is absorbed by the blood and CO2 is released into the alveoli. And then in the systemic circuit, oxygen leaves the blood and goes to the tissues, and CO2 is picked up by the blood of the tissue. We've seen this diagram before when we looked at anatomy, we studied just the two circuits, right? If we take poorly oxygenated blood from the right ventricle here, it goes to the pulmonary capillaries. We do gas exchange here, right? Oxygen is picked up, carbon dioxide is released, goes back to the left side of the heart, out the aorta to the body's tissues here in the systemic circuit. Oxygen moves into the interstitial fluid, and carbon dioxide into the plasma. Now, for that to work, there has to be a concentration gradient, right? So air in the alveoli must have more oxygen in it than there is oxygen in blood plasma. Otherwise, it will not diffuse in. The mechanism is just diffusion. It goes from a high concentration to a low concentration. Similarly, there must be more CO2 in the blood than there is in the air for it to move in that direction. The converse is true down here. Outside of cells, there must be lower oxygen than there is in the capillaries, where there's the oxygenated blood here. So oxygen moves to the tissues, and CO2 is picked up by that. So that's easy. That's just gas exchange, right, by diffusion. I guess it's worth talking a little bit about how do you measure the concentration of a gas, because it's not like you can say so many parts per unit volume, because what happens is that a gas will take up whatever space of the container it's in. So the way we measure concentration of a gas is by the pressure. The higher the pressure, the more gas there is. The lower the pressure, the less gas there is. Is that okay with that so far? Now, we have to think about, well, what is air? Air isn't a single gas, right? Air is a mixture of gases. We don't care about most of the stuff that's in air. For the purpose of this discussion, all we care about is the amount of oxygen there is and the amount of carbon dioxide there is. Air is mostly nitrogen, actually. Got some water vapor in it and a bunch of other little trace amounts of gases, lots of different kinds of gases, especially down here, probably.